So this is the new Samsung Galaxy Nexus. It's our new lead device for Ice Cream Sandwich, which is the new version of Android 4.0. So it's a super device. It's 4.65 inches screen. It's a 1280 by 720p screen, so you can support 720p video. It's really thin. It's like 8 millimeters. It's got a dual-core 1.2 gigahertz processor, and it supports 4G radios. So it'll do CDMA, LTE, and it will also do HSPA plus pentaband, so 5 different channels. So as I said, this is our first device running Ice Cream Sandwich. So immediately I can turn on the device. You can see Android's changed. And what we wanted to do in Ice Cream Sandwich was really sort of target 2 specific goals. The first was have a version of Android that worked both on tablet and on phone. And the second thing we wanted to do was give Android a complete makeover. And you can see it here. We've got this beautiful new typography font, which we call Roboto. And we've just completely changed the UI. We wanted to come up with a very simple, bold user interface. No boxes, no squares, no frames. If I just unlock the screen here, you can see this is the Android home screen. Again, very clean, got a very simple clock. If I show you all the apps, you can see that Roboto font, very clean. As with previous versions of Android, you've got your home screen here where you can swipe and customize. We have lots of new widgets. If I go into widgets here, for example, I can take my Gmail widget, drag it into one of the screens, like so, and customize it. So I'll pick my inbox to show. Now, one of the extensions that we've done in ICS is we actually allow you to resize the widgets. So if I press and hold here, I can now size this. Maybe I just want to show 2 messages. I want to see the full amount width-wise like that. So very simple. Now, another thing that we've improved on Ice Cream Sandwich is text input. So we've made the keyboard much better. So it's much faster, much more responsive. It's much better at error detection and recovery. It'll detect things like missed spaces or double-typed characters, etc. And we've also introduced spell checker. So if I were to spell something slightly wrong, like marmalade, you'll see a red underline. I click on that, and I can get the correction straight away. Now, as with previous versions of Android, we've made speech-to-text a big part of the experience. Ice Cream Sandwich is no different. You can see you've got a microphone on the keyboard as before, and this is prevalent throughout the system. What we wanted to do in this version was make the experience even nicer. So what we've introduced is streaming recognition. So what's actually happening as I'm speaking, the words actually stream out in place, and you get a much more intuitive experience. So let me give you an example. Hey man, I'm running a bit late right now. Can you give me a call a little bit later? ? And there you see the text just coming out as I'm speaking. And that's all done on the network, so we're streaming the audio up to the cloud. It's doing the recognition and streaming back the results as it's getting it. And so you get this really nice end-to-end experience. You'll notice there's some underlining as I go through some of these words. And if I click on those, I can get other suggestions. And so I actually almost said, hey, it sounded like hey mom earlier. And you can see, sure enough, the speech recognizer is disambiguating. So these aren't spelling corrections. These are actually what we call the lattice from the speech recognizer, where it's actually come up with words that sound somewhat similar to what I said. And so you see it's a very nice, simple experience. Let's see, what else can I show you? The browser we've enhanced as usual. We've taken upgrades in area of WebKit, etc. We've also tried to make more desktop class features come to the phone. So for example, we now have a much nicer tab viewing experience. So if I go and click on here, you can see I've got different tabs. I can quickly switch in between them and keep multiple ones open. We've added another very simple feature. Often when you go to sites on your phone, you'll automatically be given the mobile site. And they can give you quite a nice experience, but sometimes they're missing something from the original site that you want to see. So in this example here, I'm on New York Times. I can go into settings. I can say request desktop site, and it will then automatically bring me to the desktop site. I don't have to fumble around, try and figure out what that escape hatch link is. I can just do that very simply. Another feature I really like that we've added is being able to actually save for offline reading. So if I save this page for offline reading, it appears here in my saved pages. And now I'm actually reading an offline page, and it's completely interactive. So this is something we call MHTML, which is it's actually a feature in WebKit, which allows you to actually view a saved web page. And we've added other features to the browser, for example, synchronizing your bookmarks with Chrome, for example. Another great enhancement, I think, or set of enhancements rather, is Gmail. So if I go to Gmail, you'll notice we've got a whole new user experience here. So we now have 2 lines of preview snippets so you can quickly see your messages. We've got this new action bar here, so we're bringing all the most common actions front and central so you can play with them. If I click on a message, you'll see I get different options. I can archive the message very quickly, etc. If I want to create a new message, we now give you very nice address chips. So as I start typing, you'll see I can click on a name. I also got a portrait icon shot of the person as well. So that's just a quick taster of what Gmail looks like. I use it every day. I think it's our best version of Gmail to date. A couple other features. One of the things about ice cream sandwiches is we've got lots of nice little touches just to make it a much nicer experience. For example, people like to customize their apps, etc. One of the things we've introduced are folders, and you may have just saw me a minute ago clicking into one. I can actually create a folder really simply. Let's say I wanted to put camera and messaging together. I can just drag and drop that on top, and immediately I get a folder like this. With the 2 created, I can swap them around, order them as I'd like. I can name them. I can call this my weird bucket. I'm not quite sure why messaging and camera goes together, but there you go. And off you go. So that's just a very simple example of a feature that we've added. Now, another thing I want to show you is the camera. So if I go into the folder and launch the camera, we've done a lot of work on the camera. So, and actually, I think it's one of the strongest features of this device. So if I touch to zoom like this, touch to focus, I can also zoom in and zoom out like that, very simply. And one of the things you'll notice is how quick you can take a shot. So we've basically got 0 shutter lag. So if I click here, I can immediately take a photograph. What's really cool is I can also take lots of photographs very quickly. So I can go like this, click, click, and I've just taken 3 photos almost instantaneously. Now the experience is also very seamless. So if I click on one of the photos that I've taken, I then have my share options here immediately. We have a new option here, which allows me to actually edit the photograph. So I'm brought into gallery here, and I can go and I can actually play around with the photograph. So for example, I can add effects like posterize, or maybe I want to add some shadows to that as well. I can move this slider up here and start adjusting my photograph. When I'm ready, I can save it and send it. Other features of the camera that are pretty cool, if I go here, I can take panoramic shots. So if I change the mode to panorama, and whoops, let me show you that again. So got a panoramic shot. I can then take a photograph like this and pan around, and you'll see the UI below as it's tracking my movements. And it's actually stitching together the photographs. Excuse me. And when I'm finished, it will then combine the photographs and then post-process them. So we give it a minute. And now I have this really nice panoramic shot that's been created for me that I can send on. And it's really nice and interactive, like so. And of course, I mentioned the screen on this device is 720p. We can take videos at 720p resolution. We can also take videos at 1080p, so at full high definition. So if I go into the video camera mode, you can actually see, if I change the settings here, I can go into full HD video. Let's see, some other features that we really like. So one really unique innovation that we've added to this device is screen unlock by using face recognition. So typically, you put a pin on your phone, and you got to remember what your pin number is. Well, why can't the device just simply recognize you simply by your facial expression or facial features? So if I go into settings, I can set up face unlock very simply. The first thing I need to do is register my face. So I click on Face Unlock, and it's going to give me a picture here, and I move my face straight on, and what it'll do is scan my face and basically learn the features of my face, like so. And so now I've been enrolled. One of the second steps you do is you give a fallback. So if you're in a dark light, for example, face recognition is not going to work because the camera can't see you. So in the case of dark room, it will bring me to this backup pattern unlock, which I've chosen. So let's try this. So the phone's off. I turn it on. Look at the device. It says, "Hi, Dave," and then unlocks me like that. Now we need to prove that this actually works, so we're going to have to try it with your face. So I'll just put it up in front here. And sorry, I don't recognize you. So that's our, and there's "Hi, Dave." So there's an example of face unlock. So we're pretty proud of this. We think it's a pretty cool feature. And like other pattern recognition systems like speech recognition, it's a technology that improves over time. As we tweak and tune it, it gets better and better. Let's see some other features to show you. We've sort of pretty much reworked almost all the applications across the device. You've got books, which you might recognize. Here we got a nice 3D carousel. You can read your books on the device. One of the really nice things about ice cream sandwiches, we have no hardware buttons anymore. They're all software-based. And so these buttons here, they're simply drawn on the screen. And what's really cool about that is that when you're in something like books, we go into what we call lights out mode. And so that literally they'll disappear like that and get out of your way really nicely. And of course, you couldn't do that with a hardware button. And there's only 3 buttons. It's really clean. So you've got back and home to navigate. And we also have your recent apps here. So if I click here, you can see everything that I just showed you a minute ago. All those apps are available. I can click back into them like so. I can really take advantage of the powerful multitasking of the device. I can also close apps really quickly. Just swipe them off the screen like so. And leave what I want open. So one of the really nice features that we've added in Ice Cream Sandwich is a way to measure and control your data usage. So increasingly, carriers' data plans are becoming more and more tiered. So you pay more as you start going into higher buckets. And so what you want to be able to do, of course, is understand what apps are using your data, when you're using that data, and actually have fine-grained controls. So if you go into settings and you go to data usage right here at the top, you now have this really nice analysis of the data that you're currently using. And you get this time graph. And I can actually just pick an interval. So I can go, well, mid-month, what exactly was that spike in usage? What did I start using more? And you can actually see the list of applications here reflect that time interval. And you can see which applications I was using the most at that time. I can click on one of the applications. I can get a more granular breakdown. I can see foreground versus background. I can actually restrict background data if I like. If I find an application that's constantly using data in the background, I can meter it. And I'm currently looking at Wi-Fi here. On mobile, I don't have a SIM card here right now. What I can do is I can actually set a warning. So the device will actually send a notification to me when I hit 335 megabytes, for example, in a particular time period. And I can also actually set a limit. So if I click here, I can put a limit, which will actually switch my data off automatically. So that maybe my tiered plan only goes to 1 gigabytes, and above that it gets expensive. I can just put that in and know that the device will stop at that point. And I think this is really important. If you're being charged for something, you need to be able to have the tools to know what you're using. So a very simple system, but a powerful system. So that's a quick whirlwind tour of Ice Cream Sandwich. I think there's one last feature I want to show you, which we call Android Beam, and I need 2 devices for this. So the idea of Android Beam, and let me just unlock this second device, is to allow you literally to beam information between one device and another. So for example, let's say on this device I am, watching a video. So if I go to YouTube, and let's say I'm watching something, let's find something fun. So Kelly Rowland, so we got a nice HD music video here, and I'm watching it. And I want to share it with my friends. All I have to do is bring the phone up to my friend's phone. You get touch to beam, click on that, and then this phone wakes up, and we'll bring up the music video and play it. And we'll actually play it from exactly the same spot. So a really simple way to share information. And that works with lots of different things like contact cards or URLs. And we even have third-party APIs that you can write applications to leverage that. So that's basically it. That is Ice Cream Sandwich in a nutshell.